What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back for another Walking Dead video for the ones who live. And now, as we know, Daryl Dixon Season 2 is ramping up, and we're going to be seeing that sometime this summer, but I'm still going to sprinkle in a little bit of ones who live videos along the way, just because, I mean, it was a great show. It turned out great, and the finale that we got was definitely something I wasn't expecting. I was very skeptical on what we could see in the finale as far as will they actually make it home, will we get reunions, and it turns out we did, and I was very pleasantly surprised by that. And I just wanted to talk a little bit more as we get into the possibility of a season 2, because it's still very much, I think, a possibility. I think it's left the door open for it, and well, I just want to talk about it along with a few interviews that I will leave links to in the description down below from comicbook.com, Deadline, and TV Line, where we do get that question, will there be a season 2? But before we get into it, if you like this type of content, please be sure to subscribe, check out my other stuff, and of course, leave those likes and comments, and let's jump into this. Well, as we know, Season 2 is very much open for discussion, I think. I believe that they were waiting to see how the show would perform, and it performed well above what they were expecting, or maybe not. But regardless, this spinoff did so well, and it brought so many people back that had since given up on it. And, you know, we didn't get the exact ending that we would have liked to seen, but it's all about timing, I think. And not only that, just where the people are, where the timelines are in the different shows. I just don't think it would have made a ton of sense, and it would have been a little lackluster, I think, if they tried to squeeze in all of these OG reunions and whatnot into these last couple minutes of this big finale where we wanted to see it expanded upon. And with that, we had some interviews, and with every interview I think that Andy and Denai are doing right now, they're obviously asking them, will there be a Season 2? What's the possibility of a Season 2? Is this the last of Rick and Michonne that we're ever going to see? And honestly, they're pretty much all giving the same answer every time they're asked that. They can't talk about it. They're very tight-lipped about it. And along with when they were doing the show, when they were promoting it, the way that they were promoting it, the phrasing changed quite frequently. When they first announced it, it was announced as a limited series, and then at one point it was being promoted as a new series, and then they went back to limited or limited whatever. Just they kept kind of changing how they were promoting it, and it leaves you to question, do they even know what's going on? Are they just really messing with us? Are they even considering the possibility or the idea of a Season 2? I would like to think so, because they have to know that with this comes way more money for AMC, because people love this show. I really enjoyed it. Even though it was only 6 episodes, it really packed the story in there in a way I didn't think they would be able to do, and it gave us explanation. It gave us background on things. We got our flashbacks. We got a little bit of callback to other characters. We had cameos. So it really fit in a lot of things with just these 6 episodes, and I was really surprised by it. And when we were going into the 6th one, like I mentioned, I had zero faith that we were going to get any kind of ending that we wanted, and I was terrified, along with many, many other fans, that we were going to lose either one or both of them, and then the whole series would have been completely pointless. But they did not go that way, because I think they knew that people would be pissed, and they did not do that, thankfully, and we got Rick and Michonne back home to the Alexandria area, because as we know, all those sets have been since torn down. I did hear something where maybe part of it was rebuilt up in Jersey, so I don't know how true that is, but that's just something that I've heard. Somebody commented on one of my previous videos about it. Whether or not that's true, and whether or not they'll actually use this set, if they did in fact build it, that remains to be seen too. But one thing that's really kind of bugging me is, you know, I can understand keeping it under wraps as the show is going through its episodes, and they don't want to say whether or not we're going to get a second season, or they're going to do cameos, or whatever the case is. But now that the show's over, they're still being very tight-lipped about it, and they just won't come out and say yes or no. So it really leads me to believe that the possibility of a second season is definitely there, and they have to be really mulling it over in their heads, because yes, it kind of definitively knocked out as far as Beale and certain parts of the CRM are concerned. It wiped those out. Those threats are now gone, but it did plant seeds here and there, as far as when Beale was giving the Echelon briefing to Rick. He talked about how he has spies planted throughout communities around the world. Now we have to think, what's going to happen now that he's gone with these spies? Are they just going to move on with their lives and not really deal with it? Or are there going to be types of people that have a great loyalty to what Beale was doing, and they wanted to see what his vision was come to fruition, and now are they going to try to rise up and resurrect what he was trying to do? And you have to wonder how many spies are actually out there, how many people or how many soldiers within the regular ranks are extremists, how many of them are going to be loyal and want to bring back, they like the way things were, and they like the idea of going in and wiping out communities that could pose a threat or whatever, and there's just this really kind of dictatorship kind of thing. They wanted to see that happen. Now that's not going to. Will this be a storyline that they could possibly use for additional stories with Rick and Michonne or a second season of The Ones Who Live? But I just don't know. I mean, they could go that direction, and there's a couple different possibilities, I think. But kind of going into these articles, I just wanted to read a couple things that were mentioned in them, where this one in particular, I believe, is from TV Line, where they ask Gimple, obviously, is there going to be a second season? Is the possibility there? Is the door left open for that or whatever? And he goes on to say, it was a wild ride to make The Ones Who Live, he notes. It was like 6 years of hoping and pivoting and working, and when all was said and done, it didn't eventuate the way I thought it would. It eventuated so much better. So when it comes to telling more of the Michonne story, that's possible, he says. So he's really still throwing the tease out there too. But then we get this one from Deadline where they're talking to Denai, where Deadline asks, the last time ends with Rick Michonne's having saved Portland from annihilation, having overthrown the tyranny of the CRM, having at last reunited with their children, RJ and Judith. On many levels, it is a complete ending of their saga. But, and then Denai responds, there's a but. There's a but this is why they call it show business, not show family. And The Ones Who Live has a pretty big hit for AMC, a strong arm of the Walking Dead universe. So will there be a season 2? Denai goes on to laugh and say, well, as you know, there's no response to such a question. So the fact that they're still just not coming out and saying it really speaks volumes, I think, as far as what we could possibly see down the road. One of my theories, I guess, has been if they don't do season 2, which I could understand if they don't, if they really wanted to focus that around Rick and Michonne's story about getting home, they accomplished that. But if they wanted to give us our reunions and really appease the fan base, they could have them sprinkled in as far as cameos within Dead City or Daryl Dixon, more likely Daryl Dixon, to get him home or to get him reunited with Rick and everybody else, and then maybe, hopefully, bring it home to where we have everyone reunited. But if there is such a plan in place, whether it be in the planning stages now or in pre-production, I think it's probably, we're going to be waiting a little bit longer. Hopefully not as long as we did for Rick and Michonne to come back, because I think at that point, it would just be too much. It would be too much time, because at that point, fuck, it'd be almost 20 years, and they've been playing these characters for that long, and I don't think they want to do that. They understand that they mean a lot to everybody, and they were glad to come back and do it once, but I'm just a little skeptical, but being kind of realistic at the same time, but also being hopeful. I want to see them come back. I want to see them reunite with everybody and give us what we're all just clamoring for, is to see all of our OG characters maybe have one last battle, get home together, and then they can just cut away right there, and then we're just left with everybody's home, everybody's happy. And that would be a satisfying ending, I think. But anyways, that's just a quick little video I wanted to do about what we could possibly see and the teasing that is still out there and just how secretive they're still being about this now that it's over. But if you enjoyed the video, if you enjoyed my theories, if you enjoy content like this, please be sure to leave a like, leave comments, and of course, subscribe to the channel. Help me make that push to 1,000 subscribers, and I would appreciate the hell out of it. So until next time, guys, take care. Bye.